and welcome to the first Fieldwork 5 Minutes. A warm welcome from me, Anthony Barlow. So, our first theme is the thought of change. So, I've cycled to work this morning and I've gone through a park. The park has changed since the last time I was there. The park is near to the image you can see here, to the Wimbledon Lawn Tennis Association that will be abuzz and ablaze over the next few weeks. But this park, it looks different. This park changes through the year. This park is somewhere where there are people walking dogs. This park is where children play. Certainly a key theme for children to think about when they look at spaces and places near to them, near to their school, is how they look at different times of the day. Certainly morning time is dog walker time, evening time is dog walker time. But what happens to the park at the other times of the day when they don't go there? If they went there at midnight, what would it be like? Would the park be closed? Is it a place that's only open for a certain number of hours of the day? Certainly, I notice when I walk through the park, when I cycle through the park, that it says 9 p.m. is when it closes. What time does it open? Why does it open and close at certain times? Are there some parks that are open 24 hours a day? What are the positives and negatives to that change in the timetable? So this is a park that has all sorts of different uses, has all sorts of different people coming and going through it. There are clearly only a certain number of entrances and exits, and you can obviously look at maps to have a look at that. So the whole idea that a park is somewhere that has multiple users who perhaps have competition, have perhaps have things that they do there that maybe are in conflict with other people. If I can think about that particular park, certainly when Wimbledon Lawn Tennis Association is occurring, that's where the queue happens. The queue, the long snaking group of people who sometimes camp there out overnight to make sure that they can get into centre court, get into court number one to try and get a space. And they will be there for 12 hours, sometimes 24 hours before they actually get to where they want to be. So it's an overflow space. It's a space that for 2 weeks of the year has a very, very different character. It has an international character. Whereas in the depths of winter, on a dark, wet day, there's going to be very, very few people there. It's a place that holds concerts. I remember there was a pop-up concert just the other week, and of course, 90% then of the park is devoted to that. It's a very, very different space for certain people, for people who pay the money. It's a park that has a sports track next to it. Sometimes I see sports days occurring there. So there may be places, spaces near you that have these contested spaces where there's a change because a certain group of people come in and use it, come in and change the space over time. Interestingly, this morning there was this area that was cordoned off. Presumably, they're trying to preserve the land, preserve the grass that had all this heavy weight of the apparatus of the pop concert that was there the other week. So I bet there's been some reseeding. I bet there's been some rewatering. And certainly, at times of the year, it looks very, very churned up. At the entrance to this particular park, they sell Christmas trees, and again, there's lots of boards put down. There's lots of heavy materials that really do compact that soil. What's the impact on the soil? The children never really think about the soil and the change to the soil. Maybe our feet, maybe humans going over it doesn't change it a great deal, but certainly dogs going over it certainly does. Dogs have mess. Dogs do all sorts of things, which just change the chemical composition of the soil. And you can certainly often see um, great areas of sprouting, great areas of grass growing really well if there's an area that the dogs do their pee. So we could go pea spotting. I'm not really recommending that, but that is something that you could go around having a see around your parks. It does change the chemical composition, perhaps particularly for key stage 2 children. They could have a look at that. So the invitation really is to go and look at your local park, look at it critically, look at who uses it, have a think about that space, think about it through different times of the day, and think about who's actually in charge. I mean, does it say whether there's patches which are supported by a local nature group? Are there patches where it's controlled by a car parking authority, or is it a local authority park, so therefore the council manages it? Who are the people who are contracted who work there? Often jobs in terms of car park, in terms of parks, is quite an interesting thing to look at in terms of children's thinking. So lots of ideas there to help you build and develop your idea of what a park is and the changes that might well occur from time to time. Look forward to seeing you soon.